Hi everyone, it's Kit here from the Kit Does Yoga YouTube channel. Today's video is called Flow With Me because it's just a little yoga flow that I like to do. It's going to last about 45 minutes to an hour, just getting to work into all the different parts of the body. I'd recommend having a prop nearby. If you don't have a yoga block, you can use a thick book, a pillow, or a blanket, just something to lift the ground a little bit closer to you. So let's get started. Begin by coming to child's pose. Take your knees almost as wide as the mat. Stretch your fingertips out long. And extend your tailbone towards the bottom of your mat, lengthening through the spine. From here, begin to melt into the mat, letting the mat hold you. Notice all the connection points between your skin and the mat. And know that your mat will be there to support you throughout the practice. From here, begin to deepen your breath, taking deep inhales to fill the lungs and emptying out your exhales completely. Repeat this process, breathing in to fill the lungs completely. And exhale your air out like you don't want to miss a moment of it leaving your body. So let's take a few inhales and exhales together here. So get to the bottom of an exhale. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Breathe in. And breathe out. One last time, lion's breath. Breathe in. And exhale, lion's breath. Breathe here. On your next inhale, come up to tabletop. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and engage the belly button here. Pull your belly button back towards the center of your body without lifting the back body. So the belly button is just pulling in. Begin to press your hands down on the mat. Use your entire surface of your palm. So right here, all along the edge of your palm, really press that into the mat like a suction cup and spread your fingers wide like your thumbs want to touch each other. And from here, we'll start some cat-cows. So start by inhaling, drop the belly, look forward, and exhale, round the spine. Bring your ears between your biceps. Inhale back to cow, using the entire breath to get into the pose. And exhale, cat. Press the mat away from you. Continue a few more rounds of this at your own breath pace. So following your inhales, your exhales. Just moving into the spinal column here, moving all that fluid, especially if you're doing this at the end of the day, all that stuff that's been sitting there in one place all day, getting some action, moving that around. If it feels good, you can take a C-spine, look back at your left hip, and then your right. And feel free to take these next 3 breaths to take any other movement that feels good. Listen to your body. And then when you're ready, come back to a tabletop pose. Tuck your toes under and send your hips back. Our first downward facing dog of the practice, so maybe pedal your heels out here, pressing one heel towards the mat while bending the opposite knee, walking the dog a little bit. And again, continue that practice. Do what feels good here. Taking any moves that feel good. We're opening up the back of the legs now, all the way from your heel up through your hip and hamstring. That pressure in the mat with your palm becomes really important here. So really press the mat away from you, sending your hips back towards the back corner of the room. From here, inhale your right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. And then bend your knee, bring your left heel towards your left glute. And from here, start to bring some movement into the leg. So maybe you circle the ankle. Maybe you draw circles with the knee, bringing some movement into that hip joint. Again, if you've been sitting all day, that hip is probably a little stiff. So start to bring movement, start to draw blood to that area. And then go ahead and take it the opposite way. So whatever direction you're drawing circles in, go ahead and reverse it. On to your next inhale, bring your right foot back up to three-legged dog and step it down, downward dog. Inhale your left leg into the sky this time. And then bring your left heel to your right glute, keeping your elbows and wrists where they were, so not bending into one side, but instead still pressing through with even pressure through both hands. And if you haven't already, go ahead and start those ankle circles, that hip circle. At any time, if downward dog gets to be too much, you can always take any of these poses from a tabletop. Our hips are still getting the same opening this way with a little less pressure on the shoulders and wrists. And on your next inhale, find three-legged dog. Really press your heel back. And then downward facing dog. Breathe it out. Take another 2 breaths here. Go ahead, pedal it out. Maybe notice a little bit difference in the hips here and the ankles. And then when you're ready, start to walk your feet forward towards the top of the mat. Coming into a forward fold. And then take your feet out, heel toe the mat almost as wide as the mat again, and hang here in a ragdoll. So take a bend in your knees. Let your belly meet your thighs. Maybe you grab opposite elbows here. Maybe you sway side to side. But really let your neck hang loose. We hold our heads up all day, so let this be a chance for your neck just to release. Let those muscles go. Those muscles that work so hard to keep your head from falling over. Give them a break. Stay here for one more breath. And then go ahead, drop your hands back to the mat if they're not already there. Walk your feet back into about hips width distance apart. And then on your next inhale, we're going to slowly rise to standing, one vertebrae at a time. And inhale, reach up overhead. Exhale, mountain pose. Hands at your hips. Do a little readjustment here. Y'all don't have a mic pack you need to adjust. So you just take a breath here. Feel your feet rooted into the mat. Close your eyes for a breath or two if that feels good. Really focus on the sensation. Sit up tall. Pull your shoulder blades back. Maybe shake it out a little bit. And from here we'll start our sun salutations. So start by taking an inhale. Reach up and exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. I like to airplane out my arms. But option 2 to bring them to your shins or thighs. On your exhale, fold back in. Let's do that again. Rise up to standing, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, find plank pose. Option to take this on your knees anytime you want. But make sure, I'd rather have you on your knees in this plank than your butt sagging or pushing up. So find where you can engage that core. Again, think about pulling the belly button in like you're zipping a pair of really tight jeans. Take a breath in here. And then lower down knees, thighs, belly, chest, all the way to the mat. And And then on your inhale, pull your shoulder blades together, pull your elbows together, and then look forward, low cobra. So we're just looking forward here, and we're powering this from the back body. So go ahead and try this out for me. Lift your fingertips up off the mat, maybe your hands come up off the mat, and feel that power coming from the back body, almost like those wing muscles, if we had wings, pulling us back up, and we're staying up here. And then when you're ready, go ahead and drop the hands back down, bring the forehead back down to the mat. On your next inhale, pull your shoulder blades together again, pull your elbows together, and then look forward for low cobra, and then start to come up a little more. Shine your chest forward for cobra. Still feeling that lift throughout the wings, pulling your shoulder blades together, getting the pull from there. And then relax back down. Inhale once more, pull the shoulders and elbows together and come to cobra, or press into your hands and lift your thighs up for upward facing dog. Really let your glutes be active here. Your glutes are pulling you up off the mat. And then relax back down. And make your way back to downward facing dog, this time coming through child's pose or all four. We'll all meet back in downward facing dog. We'll do that 2 more times. Start by taking a breath in and letting it go. Inhale, fill the lungs. Exhale, empty them out. And then walk or step on empty to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to standing, reach up. And then exhale, come back down, forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, come to plank. Pause for the breath in, engage the belly. And then lower down as one unit or stop halfway, like a low push-up. And then on your inhale, choose any of the back bends we did before. So cobra, low cobra, upward dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. We'll all meet back in that downward dog. Take a breath in. Exhale, let it out. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, empty it out. And then walk or step to the top of your mat and inhale on halfway lift. Exhale, fold back down. Rise up to standing high mountain pose, reach up. And then forward fold back in. Halfway lift. Exhale, find plank pose. Stay here for the breath in. Lower halfway or all the way. Choose your back bend. And then find downward dog. Take a breath. Now we'll move on to sun salutation B's, just adding a few more moves to the mix. Start by taking a breath in. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, lift up on your toes, bend your knees, look towards your fingertips, and then walk, step, or jump to the top of your mat, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to standing, reach up. And then this time, sink to chair pose. So send your hips back like you're sitting in a chair. And to counteract that, knees start to come forward. You might even send your arms a little bit more forward too. Maybe that helps you sink your hips a little bit lower. But again, sticking with the theme here, engage the core. Pull your belly button back in. And then try it out here. So stick your butt out like you're twerking or in a dance video. And then start to round your tailbone underneath you. We're coming the opposite way. Now find in here, somewhere in this range, from sticking our tailbone completely out to tucking it under, you'll feel a lot of core engagement right at the low pit of the belly. Now stay there. It's probably a little bit more rounded than you started off with. So take a breath in. Exhale, sink a little lower. Keep that belly going. Breathe in. See if you can sink one more inch. Take one more breath here. And then forward fold. Nice job. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, find plank pose. Take a breath in. Lower halfway or all the way. Choose your back bend. And then come to downward facing dog. From now on, I'll refer to that as a vinyasa, so that lowering down to the mat, back bend, and then coming back to downward facing dog. At any time during the practice, you can always go straight to down dog, yogi's choice here. Inhale your right leg in the sky, three-legged dog. And then exhale, step your right foot between your hands, coming into warrior one. So our right foot's coming between our hands. Left foot spins down about 45 degrees, and then arms reach up into the air. Settling in on the exhales. 2 more breaths here. Breathe in and let it go. Inhale, fill up. Stay for the exhale. Take 1 more breath in to prepare. And then exhale, come back down to the mat. Vinyasa through or step right to down dog. I'll go ahead and demonstrate the vinyasas if you want to follow along, but again, at any point you can step right back to down dog. Again, your practice, your choice. And I mean, it's YouTube, so you can always pause the video and do whatever you want. So it's really yogi's choice. From here, inhale your left leg in the sky, three-legged dog. And then step it through your hands. We're coming into warrior one on the other side. So this time the left foot is in front between your palms. Right foot spins down about 45 degrees. And arms reach up again. So our torso's in a very similar position. In this warrior one, oops, don't detach your mic pack. So in this warrior one, our hips don't have to be square towards the front so they're at the same distance. They can be a little off center, but you want to feel like you're pulling this right hip forward and this left hip where my foot's in front is pulling back. So I have that energy working to bring my hips towards square, but they might not quite meet there, and that's okay. As long as I'm feeling that energetic pulls. Take another breath in here. And then come back down to the mat. Same thing, vinyasa through or step right to down dog. And make sure as you're lowering to the mat, your elbows are tucking back towards the back of the mat instead of splaying out like a push-up. Take a breath in here and let it out. Inhale, lift up on your toes, bend your knees, look forward, and then walk, step, or jump to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, fold in, rise up to standing, reach up, and then exhale, sink to chair pose. We've been here before, so find that pose, take 1 deep inhale, and then forward fold. Halfway lift. And then exhale, vinyasa through or step right to down dog. And you can make your vinyasa whatever you want to. It might include a child's pose, might include some walking the dog out a little bit. Again, your yoga, your choice. And we'll all meet back in down dog. Inhale your right leg up in the air, three-legged dog. And then step it through your hands, finding that warrior one feet again. This time we're going to rise up on the inhale, reach the peak, and then come back down on the exhale. Vinyasa through or right to down dog. Take a breath here. Moving with the flow now. Inhale your left leg in the sky, three-legged dog. And then step it through, same thing. Set up your warrior feet first, and then on your inhale, rise up, reach up, warrior one, and then exhale, come back down to the mat. Vinyasa through or right to down dog. We'll all meet back in down dog. So no rush if you're moving more slowly or quickly than I am, or maybe your neighbor is if you're practicing with a friend. Take a breath here. Inhale your right leg in the sky, three-legged dog. And step it through your hands. We're coming into a crescent lunge here. So right foot comes forward between your hands. Back foot, heel stays lifted. So your left heel is lifted. And same thing on your inhale, go ahead and use that lift. Rise up. And use the exhale to settle in. Now in this pose, instead of dumping back into your heel, actually lift your heel up. This might mean you need to adjust your feet. You might be able to take them a little bit wider or more forward and back down the mat. But it'll free up your pelvis to move a little bit more. So dumping back, again, you might feel that tailbone kind of lifting out back. But by lifting the toes, you feel your tailbone tucking under, keeping a more straight spine. Breathe here. Take a breath in. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, fill up. And then send your left arm forward, right arm back for a tall twist. This isn't good. I'm going to not face the camera, but follow my words. So our right foot is forward and our left hand is forward. Opposite foot, opposite hand. And same thing, reaching out through opposite hands, creating that energy. You'll find pushing your toes back, lifting your heel here helps with balance a little bit. We get a little bit more activation in the legs. So stay with that. Use your breath to steady you. This can be challenging for the balance. We just have one more breath here. Let it go. And then slowly come back up to that crescent lunge. Settle in on the exhale. Take one more breath in, and then we'll open up to warrior two on this side. So your hips spin toward the left now. Our front foot stays facing forward, toes facing forward towards the top of the mat. Our back foot spins down, so it might come a little bit more parallel to the back of the mat. Again, if it's closer to 45, that might feel good on your knees and your hips, just depends on how they're put together. But really feel that back edge, the pinky side, really pushing down and out through the mat. Take a breath in here. And exhale, let it go. Now shrug your shoulders to your ears. Exhale, relax them down your spine. Take one more breath in. One more breath out. And then reverse your warrior. Reach up and back behind you. And then exhale, come back down to the mat or vinyasa through. Or go right to down dog is what I should say. We'll all meet in down dog, however you get there. Take a breath. Inhale your left leg in the sky, three-legged dog. And then step it through, finding that crescent lunge on the other side. So same thing, left foot is forward now, the right toes are back. Pressing back through the ball of the foot helps you lift the heel more. And then arms here, you can reach straight up, or these cactus arms might feel good, especially if you have some upper mid-back pain. These cactus arms, we're pulling our shoulder blades together just like we did in up dog. But you can really feel it as you press your elbows back behind you. Always an option too to bring your hands to your hips, but still think about pulling your elbows back and pulling your shoulder blades together. We're looking for an open chest here, not who can reach the highest. So find a spot that works for you. Take a breath in and let it go. Inhale, fill up. And this time, right arm forward, left arm back, tall twist. I can face the camera now, which is nice. And your arms here are reaching forward and back equally. So really feel that. A lot of times we have a tendency to look forward, we reach forward, but then we bend forward. So pull back with your back arm. It's just as important. Finding equal forces to help you stay up tall, shoulders right over your hips. Take a breath here. And then slowly inhale, come back up to that crescent lunge. Settle in on the exhale. Take one more breath in. And then open up to warrior two on this side. So you get to see the back side of warrior two now. Same thing, left toes are forward. Right foot comes down. so that the pinky edge is pressing into the mat, really pressing back as your front foot pushes forward. And same thing here, shoulders over hips, again, not leaning forward or back. We'll get to that later, don't worry. But really bringing to attention that core, that stability that we have. Go ahead and use it. Take a breath in and let it go. And now shrug your shoulders, relax them down. One more breath in, one more breath out, and then reach up and back, reverse warrior, and then come back down to the mat, vinyasa through or right to down dog. We'll all meet back in downward facing dog. From down dog, go ahead and drop your knees, take a quick child's pose here. Reconnect with your breath if you've lost it. If you're working on anything in yoga, like headstand, crow pose, now's a good time to go ahead and pause the video and work on that for a few breaths. This is kind of like the playtime in class, but since you have the ability to pause, you can go ahead and pause it and take some of that time on your own. And then once you feel ready, meet us back in child's pose. We'll be here for about 5 more breaths. If you are crunched for time or you're not really feeling it today, just stay with us in child's pose. So 5 breaths here in child's pose. And then when you're ready, start to make your way back to downward facing dog. From here, we're going to walk our feet up to meet our hands, but this time cross ankle over ankle. So my right ankle is going to come over my left, and then left over right. Slowly walking up. Maybe you stay in a side bend a little bit, get a little stretch in the leg, through the IT band, the quads. And eventually we'll all meet back in a forward fold. On your next inhale, go ahead and rise up, reach up. And exhale, sink to chair pose. Breathe here, find your core. Go ahead, find where that tailbone lies. And then bring your hands together in front of you, in front of your chest. And then keeping your lower body where it is, start to pull your right elbow back like you're stringing a bow. So kind of like a bow and arrow here. And we're going to find a tall twist in chair pose here. So left arm reaches forward, right arm reaches back. Just like that tall twist we did with our crescent lunge, but this time we're in chair. Also take notice if one knee is winning the race, so if you're twisting from the hips, and come back to center. It's better to come out of this with the shoulders a little bit than compromise in the hips and the knees. Ooh, almost lost balance. Take a breath in here. And see, again, keep the knees right at the same line, and then exhale, sink lower. Sorry, that was a long inhale. Breathe in, exhale, stay, and then inhale, come back up to that chair pose. Take a breath in, reach up, and then take your left toes and start to lift them up off the mat. Feel that lower core activation. You're probably feeling it in your right quad too. Hold it here for a breath. And then start to slowly send it back towards the back of the mat. Keep the right knee bended here if you can. Otherwise, you can always come up, but I can't see you. Start to send your left foot back towards the back of the mat. And then find that crescent lunge again. And once you get there, go ahead and settle in. Adjust your feet if you need to. Maybe take them left or right. There's no rule in yoga. You have to stay still. So go ahead and mix these poses up. Find what works for your body. Take a breath in here. Exhale, let it go. Breathe in. And then open up to warrior two on this side. Again, in warrior two, if you want to take that arm variation, hands on the hips, always welcome to do that. But same thing, open the chest here. And whether your hands on your hips or reaching out, gaze is forward here, like you're trying to fit between two panes of glass. Take a breath in. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, shrug your shoulders. Relax them down your spine. Stay for one more breath in. Let it go. And then reverse your warrior, reach up and back. And exhale, come into side angle. So right forearm comes to right quad, and then left arm either goes up, straight up towards the ceiling, or over your ear. Again, find what works in your body. If you feel something pinching or like there's a lot going on in your shoulder when you reach over your ear, go ahead and do a big sweep here. So come down past your hips and knee, and then open it back up through the chest. It just moves around to some of those ligaments and stuff that can get in the way. And settle in here. Also notice if you're dumping your weight down into your shoulder, and lift up here. So we're using the side core here. So the left side body, this core right on the outside of the obliques, we're using that to keep us lifted, not just collapsing all of our weight down, but instead lifting up. And if you'll notice, the rest of my body opens up too as I use that core to open up. Take a breath in here. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, fill up, reach up. Stay for the exhale. And then reverse your warrior, reach up and behind you. And then exhale, we'll all meet in a forward fold at the top of our mat. Breathe here. So I was having some problems on YouTube uploading the whole 1 hour video. So if you're interested in continuing the class, please click on part 2 to pick up right where we left off. Thanks.